Okay, this is Orlando Wilson, and what I want to talk about in this video is training. I get a lot of people reaching out to me asking me, again, about training systems and what courses they need to do, etc. And again, it's a very difficult question to answer, and I've addressed this in other videos by saying you need to be doing training that's relevant for you, relevant for your environment, etc. Basic one, there's no point doing firearms training if you're not going to be working with firearms. And again, a lot of the close protection business internationally is unarmed. I've had people, and one of the questions that pop up quite often is, what's the best system? Do we follow the Secret Service system or the Krav Maga system, the Systema system? And again, all this comes into martial arts and all these people selling these wonderful tactical holidays and tactical fantasies and tactical entertainment courses, etc. To me, if you're studying martial arts, if you're into martial arts as a sport, yes, you can follow a specific system, you can be dedicated to that system, you can become a master in that system. But martial arts are a sport, it's a hobby. As far as the close protection world's concerned, as far as the serious defensive firearms world, and I don't mean fucking competitions. Okay, competitions where people, usually failed males, get dressed up, run around and play with guns. I'm talking about people that carry guns for defensive purposes to protect their lives and the lives of other people. If you're dealing in the real world, not sports, not competitions, I would say following only one specific system is a big, big negative. Why? Why? Because the world is so diverse. And if you're following just one system and learning that only one system and following the doctrine of that system, it doesn't make sense to me. In reality, you have to be able to adapt to all situations. You have to be able to adapt to all environments. And a lot of systems are not going to be that adaptable. You need to be in your tactics, techniques, etc. And I tell people, on my courses, I do not tell people what to do. I will guide them from my experience. I will guide them from what I've done over the years and what's worked for me. But again, what's worked for me may not work for them in their environments. Same with systems. I give people guidance. I don't tell people what to do. Some of the things as far as firearms and safety, yes, we have to tell people what to do. But as far as close protection and operating and how to do things, yes, there are some basic things you need to follow, but some basic guidelines, some basic fundamentals. But after that, you have to be as fluid as possible. You have to be able to adapt to all situations, not just the environments you're working in, but also your manpower, the budget you have, the resources you have, the laws you have to work under. So this is where, to me, and when people talk to me about systems, I say, you know what? When I was first starting, I went out and I learned as much as possible. To me, this job is, for some sad reason, close protection, security, etc., has been my life. So I went out and I looked at as many different systems as possible. And again, still these days, if something pops up, which is I've not seen before, or seems could be strange, but it could work, you know what? I'll take a look at it and see its relevance. Because in this business, you're always learning. This is where I've said in other videos, yeah, you might be a master in a specific martial art. Close protection world, you'll never be a master. Why? Because it's that diverse. There's that much going on. There's that much constantly changing technology-wise these days. And again, you can never be a master on the streets. If you're talking about operating on the streets, you'll never be a master. Why? Because you're distracted for 1 second, somebody stick a knife in you, shoot you, etc., and you're done. So this is where it's, as far as systems are concerned, you need to go out and explore as many different types of system, tactics, etc., and you need to adapt those over to what work for you. And I've come across people over the years, especially when I was beginning, I see stuff these days, and they consider themselves to be experts, etc. Nobody is an expert in the close protection business. And I look at what they're doing, and again, to me, it's like, is that stuff going to work in reality? It might look cool, in a car park somewhere. It might look cool on some promotional video, but can you actually apply what they're doing in reality? Is that going to work on the street? Is that going to work in one environment? Is it going to work in all environments? In some environments it might work, in other environments that might not. So this is where, if you're serious about the close protection business, if you're serious about the tactical business, etc., defensive firearms, you need to be constantly questioning the tactics and techniques that you're using, and what, especially if other people are telling you to use them. This, if somebody's telling you this, you must do this, you must do that. Okay, question it. And this is where, if the instructors or the people telling you this cannot give you a logical reason why you're doing that tactic, why you're doing that technique, then forget it. It's not just understanding the technique, it's understanding the reason for that technique and why you're doing it, and how that technique or tactic would be applicable in a realistic situation. This is where a lot of the government or military close protection tactics, techniques do not work in the commercial world, because government agencies have the law on their side. They can do what they want. And in this commercial close protection world, you have to work within the laws. You're generally limited on resources. You don't have the budgets, etc., etc. So some things might work in some situations. They're not going to work in others. But you must be able to understand this. You must question your instructors. You must question your tactics, etc. And again, you must question those tactics and your instructors, because if you're out working, if it's you on the street, if things go bad, you need to ensure your tactics, your techniques are going to save your ass and save your client's ass. Because when you're out on the street, nobody's going to come and help you. You might have some expert instructor somewhere sat in a classroom, sat in a dojo, you know, eating donuts, but he can be how many thousands of miles away. And if things go bad for you when you're in some back streets of some shitty little country somewhere, he ain't coming to help you. You might, and if the criticism starts coming in, he'll even deny knowing you. So remember that. So as far as systems are concerned, make your training as diverse as possible. And even if you don't think something is applicable to you, you know what, go try it, take a look at it and work it out. But your training needs to be diverse, because you need to understand what works and, more importantly, what doesn't work. So just a little bit of advice. Anyway, in the meantime, follow me along on social media. I prefer LinkedIn these days. We're also up on, we have stuff up on YouTube. We have stuff up on Instagram, but I also prefer X because it's a lot more freedom of speech. Also, check out my books on Amazon. I have a array of books up that talk about various aspects of the close protection business, etc., etc., etc. So in the meantime, be good, stay safe, stay out of trouble, and always question everything.